Hello, everybody, and welcome to Birdlife Israel's live webinar from the field, the Migration Spectacular. As you come in, let us know in the chat where you're logging in from, which part of the world, and good morning to those of you from the New World in America. Those of you just getting up or just getting around to breakfast. And hello to anybody from the East, maybe having dinner or headed to bed. We're happy to see everybody. We're going to give a couple seconds for everybody to log on before we get started. But like I said, send us a chat, tell us who you are and where you're logging in from. We haven't seen you guys in a while, so it's been a while since we've had one of our live broadcasts. We'd be happy to see who's here with us. Chat is disabled, no problem. We will take care of that as we speak. Hang on. Okay, can we try the chat again and see if it's working? It seems to be working now. But in meanwhile, welcome to Ira from Baltimore and Shaul from Malay Adumim here in Israel. It's good to see you guys. Eileen from Sharon, Massachusetts, my old stomping grounds. Anita from Canada. London's checking in. Vancouver. Good morning, Vancouver. McGee Marsh, just finishing up the biggest week in birding, I think, down there. Los Angeles. So we have people coming in from all over the world. It's really good to see you guys. We have a great lineup scheduled for you guys today. But first of all, welcome to everybody. My name is Alan Casal. I'm the Director of Tourism and Outreach for Birdlife Israel, formerly the director here at the Jerusalem Bird Observatory. I'm here right now at the Neely and David Jerusalem Bird Observatory with the ringing staff, who we will be meeting in a little while. And with us today is Noam Weiss from the Bird Sanctuary in Eilat. Dr. Yoav Perlman, the head of Birdlife Israel, is has a surprise for us down on the Jaffa beach. And Nadav Yisraeli is up in the Hula Valley, and we will be checking with him in a little bit. But first, I'd like to hand over to Yoav Perlman from the beach. Yoav, take it away.
Hi, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. It's so great to see so many people participating. Welcome, everyone. It's a bit of a breezy afternoon here in Israel, as it often is this time of year. Yeah, we have all the people in the right places, the right time from my team, Nadav and Alan and Noam from Eilat. We have some special birds for you, but also some special non-birds. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Yeah, it's great to see everyone here, and I wish us a successful webinar. So back to you, Alan, and I'll switch my camera over next time you join me, and I'll show you what I've got.
Fantastic, thanks, Yoav. So we're going to go straight to Nadav, because Nadav, I see something really interesting standing in the middle of your screen. So let's head over to you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm going to start immediately with the bird. Oh, it just flew. See if I can get it in flight. It's a wonderful. It's too close, actually. Too close. Yeah, there it is. There it is. It's very hard to follow in flight, but okay.
So what were we watching there
everybody.
for a second, Nadav?
We were watching a short-toed eagle. one of the eagles we have here in Israel. It's actually sometimes it's called short-throated snake eagle because it feeds mainly on snakes and lizards. It's a migratory bird. It comes to Israel in spring and stays through summer. Breeds in Israel and around the Mediterranean area. Um, I think I have two now in flight. I can try and catch one of them in the air, maybe coming down. There it is.
And Nadav, this bird is
Yeah.
breeding here, right? But that's
Yes,
not a
this
short
birdie,
bird.
that was a stork, a white stork. Okay, Ellen, sorry, I'm gonna try and get the eagle on the ground when it's
Okay.
hopefully it's gonna land again. Maybe go somewhere else and
Okay,
come back
so
to
we'll
me.
come back to Nadav and the eagle when he finds it. Meanwhile, Noam, I'm coming over to you down in Eilat. I see that you have someone sitting on a beach there.
Yes, so welcome to Eilat. We had an amazing International Bird Migration Day today with a very nice educational event with 400 pupils, but this is of course our star for now is the black-winged stilt, which is actually sitting on eggs right now. Usually we are reluctant to show birds while breeding because we want to keep them safe and we don't want people to know where they are and disturb them. But this is a special case because we are now at the Eilat Bird Sanctuary, and this bird sits on an island which is completely protected from any kind of hazard, special or disturbance from people. So we are actually in a hide, in a blind, watching this bird. And in Eilat Bird Sanctuary, we have probably the highest population in the country for breeding black-winged stilts and also Kentish plovers. About 50 pairs of stilts, maybe 100 pairs of stilts here and in the flamingo pools in Eilat, and about 5 pairs of Kentish plovers are here. These are late breeders that they just laid eggs about 3 weeks ago, and we are expecting chicks pretty soon. The lapwings around, they are already having chicks, but the stilts are waiting. Spring have been amazing, movement of birds non-stop. Migration was not very strong this year, not so many birds, but just to see the spectacle of birds moving all the time to the north. This is pretty much over. We are now entering into our summer phase. This is why we are busy with some breeding birds like this stilt. This bird is, what's most special about it is that it has a very, very long legs. To avoid competition, it goes into the deeper water and eats all the Artemia shrimps that are right here. I'll put you in perspective maybe, take this out of the scope and show you where we are. And this is the island where the stilts are. And what you are seeing actually are salt pans which produce salt, and at the same time are a bird sanctuary protecting birds. So the salinity here is about 2 to 3, sometimes 4 times the salinity of the sea, depends on which pool. And the Artemia shrimps thrives here and is food for all these shorebirds. Sometimes flamingos here too, but mainly shorebirds. Shorebird migration was early this year. We had peaks of many, many birds just 2 weeks ago, but now things seems to be pretty much over when the birds were heading north. You can probably hear the black-winged stilt pretty nervous. They're always nervous. Ground nesters are all the time nervous because their nest is exposed, but as you can see, this nest is just on the island. And just look where we are. We are on the edge of the Eilat city. So we are actually an urban nature site, but a very important one for all these migratory birds. So this was the stills of Eilat. And I think I'm going to move on to our next item. Alan.
Okay, thank you, Noam. And Nadav, do you have a bird for us up in the hula?
Not at the moment. No, I'm sorry.
Okay, so I'm going to come back to the Bird Observatory in Jerusalem, where we are conducting a bird ringing session, and the staff here have a couple birds to show us. They came in here a few hours ago and opened the nets on site so that we can catch a few of the migrating birds. Here we are dealing more with songbirds. So the small birds that are migrating across the hills of Jerusalem and headed north into Europe. And they stop here at the Bird Observatory in the middle of Jerusalem to rest, to fuel up, to eat before they continue onwards on their migration route. So let's see what we have here. Next to me, we have Haim and Tomer, and they have a couple birds that they're going to show us really quickly. I'm going to talk to the microphone. Okay. So what do we got first?
First, we got a really sweet bird. It's not a migratory bird. It's a resident bird. It's a fledgling of a gray tit, just fledged out of the nest. The gray tit nest here all over the JBO.
From those of you from the Americas, this is our version of a chickadee, right?
Now, where they are really young, they have a really yellow chest, really amazing bird. You can see this like conus shaped bill for eating also seeds and also insects and fruits. Really sweet birds. We really like them here in Jerusalem. And all over the cities in Israel, they nest. Really spectacular bird. We really like it. Really nice bird.
And in Hebrew, it's called yargazi, which kind of means the excitable one. It's usually the bird that is most likely to cry out when there's a danger or a sparrowhawk or something coming in to predate. It's the bird that's going to let us know. It's going to cause a lot of noise. And someone is just asking, is it too late for migration? So we are at the end of migration here in Israel. I know in America, the birds are just starting to arrive in many places, and you're in the height of migration. We are winding down, but there are still many birds that are just starting to go through, especially juvenile birds that might be sort of lagging behind the adult birds. So we're still seeing migration, and the bird is not really upset to be handled. He just wants to go back and start eating. And like I said, they're excitable birds, so they let their emotions be heard. Okay, we have a couple more birds here. These are probably the most numerous birds that migrate through Israel at any time. Can you get them real close so you can see them? Okay. Go ahead and tell them.
This is the most common migrant right now in Israel. It's called the Eurasian blackcap. This is the male and this is the female. The male have actually a black cap and the female have a brown cap. They are really common here in Israel. They don't breed in Israel, they breed in Central Europe. And they usually eat a lot of insects and a lot of fruits. The mulberry fruits are actually ripe, and all of these black caps are fully with a purple color on their chest because they used to eat a lot of the mulberry. So it's really nice. And we really like them here in the JBO. We always say that this is the Haredi bird because they have this black kippa.
Fantastic. So this is the black cap, the Eurasian black cap, and I'll put the name in the chat for everybody. It's not uncommon at this time of year when they've been eating the mulberries to have these birds come in, and they've got purple all over them, and people are asking what kind of bird is this because it's hard to identify with the purple. but it's kind of fun. I see that Noam has a bird to show. Noam, can we head back to you?
Yes, welcome back to Eilat.
Okay.
And, we have a special guest in Eilat, is the moorhen. It's not a very rare bird in the country, also in Eilat in winter, but this pair of moorhens here has decided they have decided to probably breed here, which will be a first. They usually don't breed in Eilat, so far south, and this is a success because this lake is new, was just built 3 years ago, and vegetation is just now growing, and these guys decided to make it their home, which is very nice. You see, this is a very beautiful adult. It's black with a red and yellow bill and some white feathers along the body and under the tail. And it's wading there looking for insects and vegetation. It's pretty active looking for food. And we are pretty sure, because they are very, very local, into one small patch, that inside these bushes are, they have their chicks right now. So these are birds really to enjoy. See, they have really long legs and long toes, so they can walk on the vegetation. And it's pretty rare to see them like that in the open. Usually they are pretty skulking birds.
And no, I may have missed it. Are they nesting down there?
Yes, we are suspecting that they are breeding right here, right now, because they are very local to one patch, and this is probably a first. The Aqaba Bird Observatory, our neighbors from Jordan, reported chicks 2 and 3 years ago, and we were very, very jealous. But I think the new lake have made the change, and they are here, and they are 99% breeding right here in this bush, which the bird went behind right now.
Great. Okay, well, I'm going to bounce us back to the Jerusalem Bird Observatory, because we have a very interesting bird that just got ringed here. So, and then Yoav, I'm probably going to come to you when we're done here. So get ready. And hang on. We're going to replace the spotlight. Here we go. So what do we got?
So we've got Eurasian great reed warbler. Not really common bird here in the JBO. They really like wetlands, like the Hula Valley, Eilat, also in the Bet Shean Valley and the area of Magan Michael, but not really Jerusalem, because there are not a lot areas of wetlands. They used to nest in Israel in not really big numbers, but some numbers. But today in Israel, there are really few couples of the great reed warbler that breed in Israel. So these birds supposedly fly back to Europe, maybe to Hungary, Romania, this area, and will breed there. A nice bird. And Chaim also got another kind of a reed warbler. This is the sedge warbler. Also not so common bird here in Jerusalem. It's really amazing bird with this eyebrow, this white eyebrow. They are kind of a relative birds, but this bird is actually twice the size of this bird. Quite amazing.
These are both birds that if you were up in the Hula Valley or in anywhere where there's a wetland with lots of canes and vegetation, you're going to hear them. They're clicking away and making a lot of noise. But to see them is something a little more unusual. So the reason we have them here in the middle of Jerusalem is because we have a small pond that we built here. Not a very big pond, but it's got reeds and it's got some vegetation, local vegetation around the edge, and it's just perfect for the reed warblers and the sedge warblers that come through on migration. and they will be leaving us soon and heading out. So it's really good to see them. And I was in the Hula Valley yesterday, and I heard a lot of these birds moving around. Someone is asking, when we ring, do they let them go? We immediately let them go. We catch them, we ring them, we measure them so that we can get some details on how well they're doing, how healthy they are. And then we immediately release them back into the site so that they can keep feeding, adding the fat to their body so that they can continue to migrate soon. And the process only takes a few minutes. We have another couple birds coming up, but I'm going to go over to Yoav because he's got a really special guest for us on the Jaffa coast. So Yoav.
Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah,
Yep.
I apologize for the wind. I'll first of all give you a vista of where I am. So I'll zoom out. I'll switch my camera over. Okay, so I'm now in Tel Aviv on the beach. So this is the Jaffa beach, just on the southern edge of Tel Aviv. Okay, here we are. Lots of people are lined up on the beach. What are they looking at? Here's my scope. Let's connect to the scope. Okay, so this is our very special guest. This is a Mediterranean monk seal. Okay, the Mediterranean monk seal. It's a globally threatened species. It's categorized as in the second most severe global threat status. It's endangered. There are less than 700 individuals in the entire world. They're a Mediterranean species. They're called, this group of species is called pinnipeds. They have legs with fins on them, finned legs. And this is the Mediterranean monk seal. There are two other monk seal species. One of them is already extinct, globally extinct, and another one, the Hawaiian monk seal, is critically endangered as well. And this one, it has a tiny, tiny global population. The closest population to us is in Turkey. They're found in Turkey and in Greece mainly. And this is only the third ever time this seal has been seen in Israel, at least third observation in recent decades, in modern times. So this is a very, very special guest. This seal, the Mediterranean monk seal, landed here on the beach in Tel Aviv 3 days ago. It was found by people walking on the beach. It was first spotted here. And since then, it's been lying on the beach here, not doing much, to be honest. Occasionally going in for a quick dip. It came here apparently to molt. So once a year, adult monk seals molt their fur. They shed the old fur and grow a new fur. And you can actually see this animal. It's not a bird, I apologize, but it is a fantastic animal. I'll move a bit to the left. Okay, so the back of the body is already shed its fur, and it will start growing. It still has the top of the body, the upper part of the body to grow. So it will likely stay here for another at least few days, if not more than that. Now it's very interesting. This is a public beach, totally public beach in the middle of the city. Thousands and thousands of people walk here, jog here, cycle here, go for a swim every day. And it's, the weather is lovely now. After the winter, lots of people go down to the beach here. And the city of Tel Aviv, the municipality of Tel Aviv, together with the local police, together with the Nature and Parks Authority, they closed off a section of the beach. They literally fenced it off, and people are not permitted to get any closer than 60, 70 feet away from the animal. People aren't allowed to get any closer. There are rangers here 24/7, making sure that no one tries to do anything funny with the animal. We're just letting it be, lying on the beach. People from northern hemispheres who have seals on the beach. I lived in the UK for several years, so I know that seals often they just lays on the beach for days and days to end. So it's possible that this one will do the same. So yeah, not much action. It is snoozing most of the time. When the tide goes up, it sort of inches its way a few centimeters up the beach. We'll see. Maybe it will turn around or do something interesting while we're here. But this is the beginning. I'll tell you more about the seal in a few minutes when we check with the other people. Yeah.
Yoav, just to give perspective about how big is this seal?
Okay, so it's not a huge seal. It's about meter 20 or meter 40 long, which is about 4 to 5 feet, something like that. On average, these animals, this is a female, quite an adult female. They weigh something like 200 or just over 200 kilos. I have no idea how that translates into ounces or pounds. So anyone with a better knowledge of those of that weight system, if you could put that in the chat, around 220, 240 kilos. This is the average or the mean weight for adult female Mediterranean monk seals like this one. It's about, I have a WhatsApp message from Lawrence, thank Lawrence, about 400 pounds. So that's what it's weighing. Yeah. Alan, do the other people have any birds? We can continue talking about this animal in a second. So this is a quick introduction, and it's not going anywhere, so we can return to it in a few minutes.
Okay, we'll be back in a second. We have a bird waiting in here at the Bird Observatory in Jerusalem. So here we go.
I have here really beautiful bird called musk shrike. Also a migratory bird, spend the winter in Central and South Africa. And now they are flying back to the nesting area, to the breeding area. They breed also in Israel, in northern and central Israel. You can see their orange chests and this amazing musk. This musk led them to focus on insects that they see, like football player that put this 2 lines under the eyes. They use it to concentrate, to like be focused on insects, so they can see them really close. Now we let it go.
It's a very noisy bird. He likes to let us know what he thinks. But it's a bird that we love to see. The ringers have to be very careful with them though, because most shrikes have a little bit of a hook at the end of their beak, and they can do some damage to an insect, and they can definitely do some damage to a finger that gets in the way. But they're beautiful birds to see, and we love having them around. Noam, I see that you have your scope focused on something. Shall we come to you?
Yes, welcome.
Okay, coming right back.
So with the birds come their predators, and this is the scaly-backed viper. It's a poisonous snake. I think there are at least 1,000 of them at the bird sanctuary. At first, in the first years here at the bird sanctuary, snakes were rare, but then more and more birds arrived, and the snakes follow. So this is here, this snake is here. Usually there are 2 or 3 of them on the same spot. I'll show you soon why they're here. They have thermal imaging devices in their sensor system, and they are just waiting for a bird to pass by, and then they are extremely camouflaged, and then they just jump on it and digest it. So I'll show you why this viper is right here. First of all, enjoy it's how it looks like. It's a pretty orangey snake, and I'll show you where we are. So that's, by the way, how we do it. This is our scope. This is a size scope with a connector attached to it. And now we are going for a drinking spot we put for the birds and for mammals. We have a problem in the bird sanctuary that mammals like to chew on our pipes, on our irrigation pipes. So we put this here just to make sure that they have enough water and they don't have to have our pipes for dinner. And this is where the birds come. And I'll be pretty careful, but this is where the viper is. See, it's right there in the crevice. See, hidden. I'm about a feet from it, that's all. It's not a large snake, and it's waiting there for a bird to come and eat. Now, sometimes it's like a taxi station here, which means there is one viper waiting by the water, and there are two behind. And when he grabs the snake grabs the bird, so the next one goes into position, and on. It takes them hours to days to digest. So basically, there are so many of them arriving to this specific spot, get their bite, and then digest it for hours or days, and others come back. This is another piece of nature at the Eilat Bird Sanctuary. Pretty dangerous one, might kill a human easily.
Noam, how big do they get?
They are less than a meter. They are not so big, and they are also not very aggressive. We never had anyone got sting in the bird sanctuary ever, even if we have so many snakes here. So when they see people, they usually just freeze, like now. They're just sitting there, or just slide away peacefully. If you are too close to them, they will make a sound of a flat tire, like a big whistle, and you usually don't understand what's happening. And sometimes, if you are really too close to them, they make a false kind of a bite. They hit you with their head on the trousers. A colleague of mine had it happening to him, just to warn you away. They rather spend their venom for their food, for feeding, and not for protection. So they prefer to keep it for themselves.
I know that many of the reptiles in the desert are nocturnal. Is this the case here too?
Yes, during the night we see more of them, but I think they're active almost all the time. During the day, they are sitting like this, ambushing the birds. And during night, usually we see them moving around.
Nice. Cool. If you like snakes, Eilat's the place to go, I guess.
Definitely.
All right. So let me see who's up. Nadav, are you in place yet? Okay, Yoav, can we come back to you?
Yeah, I'm still here, and the seal is still here. Okay, so I want to talk to you a bit more about this individual seal. So this seal actually has been identified. So because the population size is so small, almost all of the world's 700 or so individuals have been identified individually according to their pattern of scars. So each one has a pattern of scars resulting from encounters with all kinds of objects and animals. It could be a shark, it could be a rotor of a motorboat, it could be a sharp rock in a storm, it could be a male or a rival seal. So each one has an individual pattern of scars similar to fingerprints, like we have them. And through careful examination of the pattern of scars on this animal, it has a few scars. Maybe you can see just at the rear neck, there's quite a large scar, and another one in the middle of the back. These scars stay with them for life. And yeah, so this animal, this individual animal, has been identified through close examination as an individual originating from Turkey. It's known to be 16 years old. So it's a 16-year-old female. Here in Israel, it was nicknamed Yulia. I'm not sure why. It should have been called Maya because we're now in May, but not Yulia for July. But anyway, the people who are sort of keeping a close look after her, the good people from Nature and Parks Authority and Delphis, which is an NGO working about the protection of marine mammals and marine conservation. So they're looking after her closely, protecting her, and they gave her the name Yulia. So currently she's lying very close to the water's edge. I'll pan a bit to the left, you can see. Okay, this is really the water's edge. And she's here. And I'll try to show you where the people are. It really is very close.
Noam, do you know how long these seals live? Do we know that?
I think that they can live up to 30, 40 years maximum. However, I guess that their life expectancy isn't great because of the high mortality rates. They're suffering a lot, even though there are some very, very targeted conservation projects to protect them. Still, their numbers are going down. So as I said, currently there are about 700 animals left in the entire world. A few hundreds of years ago, there were many more.
Now, I think I remember reading somewhere today that that in May and June the fishing is shut down in the area of the Mediterranean coast of Israel. There's no nets out, which
That's
makes
right.
it a little safer for her
Yeah,
to move around.
Yes, that's right. Now it's a fairly safe time of year to roam the waters of the coastal Israel, the Mediterranean coast. Currently, there's a ban on fishing close to the shore to let the fish population reproduce. The Society for Protection of Nature has been leading marine conservation efforts in Israel, promoting the declaration of several large marine protected areas and working a lot about fishing regulations, trying to regulate fishing better in order to allow the fish population in the Mediterranean of Israel to restore a bit. Numbers or the fish population here has declined dramatically, like in many other parts of the world. Many oceans around the world, including and the Mediterranean Sea, are heavily exploited for the fishing industry. And I assume that plastic pollution isn't contributing either to the health of the marine ecosystems. So the Society for Protection of Nature, in collaboration with the Israel Nature and Parks Authority, are leading the way in the Eastern Mediterranean in marine conservation and doing some amazing work. I want to congratulate my colleague, Alon Rothschild. He's leading our marine conservation efforts and the marine conservation unit in our organization, and he's doing a stellar job and really making some amazing achievements. We're in a much better situation today compared to where we were a few decades ago, and this is really a lot got to do with the efforts of the Society for Protection of Nature in Israel. And I hope that with better conditions here, we'll start to see more and more seals identifying the relative safety of the shores in Israel. I would say still well, it's not a favorable place for seals because most of the Mediterranean shore in Israel is very sandy, and we don't have many rocky sections in the beaches of Israel. There used to be more Mediterranean monk seals in the north of Israel in Roman times or until few centuries ago, but in the last century and especially the recent decades, it's become very, very, very rare with the drop in global population numbers. So we are very fortunate to have this animal, this marine mammal here with us. It's great to have it here. Yeah, so as I said, a few hundreds of years ago, the population was much, much, much larger. However, there are different factors that contribute to the very, very dire state that this animal is in now, the global population. First of all, it has been commercially hunted for quite a few centuries. It's used for, well, the different uses that seals are used for. Currently, of course, it's protected. It's illegal to hunt it. But for many centuries, it has been hunted in a commercial scale. And in recent decades, it's suffering from persecution, mainly from fishermen. I know that in Greece and Turkey, in other Mediterranean countries, fishermen persecute them because of the competition that these poor animals pose to their fishing efforts, and it's still suffering from persecution in some parts of its range. And yeah, more and more vessels in the water, more and more plastic pollution, dwindling fish populations and other marine mammals. They feed mainly on fish and marine mollusks like eels, octopus, squid. That's their main food. Yeah, less food in the Mediterranean Sea isn't contributing to their conservation. But yeah, I really hope that large-scale conservation efforts in Israel and in other parts of the Mediterranean, especially the Eastern Mediterranean, will actually lead to hopefully an increase in their numbers in the future. Yeah, we can continue talking later. Alan, do other people have anything else to show?
Yeah, I don't think we have. Noam, are you pulling up to a bird?
No, we are on the way. We are on the way.
We're on the way. And I know Nadav is busy looking for some stuff as well.
I'll try to do something a bit different. I mean, here in our webinars, we really try to focus on the special birds, on the amazing migratory birds. But now I'm in the middle of Tel Aviv in an urban area, and I want maybe to introduce you to some of the common urban birds. They're all a bit mobile. It's not water birds that tend to move a bit slower. It's a very busy urban park. Let's see what I can find. So bear with me. I'll try to zoom out.
So as I was mentioning earlier, we are at the closing end of the migratory season. Sometimes May can produce a couple days that are full of migratory birds, and sometimes the wind is in the wrong direction or something, and it's a little quieter. We happen to have landed on a fairly quieter migratory day. But I see you have an interesting bird there, Yoav.
Okay, yeah. So this is one of the commonest birds in Tel Aviv area. This is a common myna. It's actually not a native species. Is someone going to flush it? And sparrows doing
You can hear the wind. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. There was a person passed and I had to help a bit. Okay. So there's a pair of mynas here. Okay, so the mynas are an invasive species. They originate from Southeast Asia, but they have been part of our fauna for the last 2 decades, more or less, and they've become very common, probably one of the commonest birds in the urban areas of Israel. Around me now, I can see quite a few mynas, maybe 10 or 20 birds around me. Some are very close, but they're very mobile. It's a bit windy and they're moving all the time. Yeah, they are very beautiful birds. I think people tend not to like invasive species, but you know, they are part of our fauna, and we need. I think you know, it won't leave the Israeli avifauna. It will stay here. So I guess we need to get used to them and start loving them, like our native species, I guess. So yeah, this is part of our fauna. Let me try and find something else.
So someone is asking if these birds are aggressive and attack other native birds.
Yes, they certainly do. They certainly do. This is house sparrow. I guess house sparrows are very common in many parts of the world, and actually doing not so well in some parts of the world. I know that in the UK and Western Europe, it is a declining species. Also in Israel, in some parts of the country, certainly the numbers are dropping. It's still a very, well, admittedly, it's still a very common urban bird, but certainly we can see declines in some places. In some parts where we see declines, it perhaps can be associated with mynas and other invasive species. Maybe they compete on breeding sites and things like that. But yeah, still, we do have quite many house sparrows. They are common in North America as well, but they are introduced there. Here they are native. So it's just behind a pole. Will it jump to the other side? Yeah, it's coming on the other side. Yeah, it's very close to me. You can see people walking all the time along the beach. It's a very busy urban park here by the beach. Still the house sparrow. I have a few other species. Let's try to see if I can find something else. I'm here with my daughter, by the way. Okay. Oh, there's a hooded crow, literally. Where is it? Oh, there's a hooded crow. I need to zoom in to focus. Can I focus? Just a second. Bear with me for a second. Okay.
Just to point out, Yoav is using a system where he has his phone attached to a telescope. It's not always as easy to move around and find the bird you're looking
especially
for.
When the bird is 10 feet away.
And moving.
And moving all the time. But this is a hooded crow. Come on, move it, people. Okay. Hooded crow. Stop now. It's one of the several crow species we have in Israel. This is indeed a common urban species, the hooded crow. They're quite a southern species. Oh, and it's off. Extending its range into Europe. Yeah, let's go back to our seal. Is it doing anything? No, still snoozing.
So someone is asking if the house sparrow here in Israel is the same house sparrow as in the US, and yes, it's the same exact species.
Indeed, it's the same exact species, but in Israel, as we said, it is a native species, and in North America, it is a non-native species. They originate from the old world, And yeah, I really like house sparrows. I think that the males are pretty, and especially because they're declining. Oh, the wooded crow is posed again. Let's see if I can.
Yeah, I know I was in England, and in many places in England where they used to be very, very common, the house sparrow has completely disappeared. And people are excited when they see one.
Right, okay, the wooded crow again. Don't fly, don't fly. Okay, as you can see, the birds are enjoying the wind as well. So yeah, hooded crow, it is a common urban bird. And some places, actually, its populations are maybe a bit too high. They're very, very efficient predators. Sometimes they venture out into open spaces where they feed on eggs of ground breeding birds, on reptiles, on rodents, on arthropods. So yeah, in some scenarios they're a bit of a problematic species, but it's yeah, they're pretty here in the city. Again, a male house sparrow sitting quietly on the lawn here. Yeah, so when I'm here for a while now, and I did see a few other species that are moving around. I'll try to find something else if I have. Alan, anything else anywhere?
We just so happen to have a house sparrow here in our nets.
Okay,
So let me give you a close up of a nice male. Tomer is just putting a ring on the bird. Maybe you can show us the process.
Took our special plier, put the band on the ring on the leg. That's it.
The ring has a serial number and the address of our ringing center, so we can track it later. And you can see that this is a beautiful male. Can we see his front? He doesn't really have a lot of black. He has a little black bib, which identifies him as male. And the house sparrows at the Bird Observatory are very well fed. And we have a nice group here that live on the site year round. Pretty big bird. They don't have to be very small or light because they don't migrate. They're here year round. Our local owl is very fond of them, and we have often found the rings that we mark the birds with in the pellets that the owls regurgitate. So we are able to identify the birds that the owls eat, and house sparrows are one of their favorite species. Nadav, I see that you are showing something. Can we come to you?
Not yet. I'm getting
Not
there.
yet?
I will.
You should get
I
there.
will tell
Okay,
you when.
fantastic. How about Noam? Anything by you? Our staff is desperately trying to find you a few more birds.
I have some stuff, Alan.
Okay, we'll go back to Yoav.
Okay, so I have some special birds here that I think haven't been shown on our webinars before. Do you see these black dots flying in the sky?
Yep,
we
just
have a large flock of common swifts flying over the houses of Jaffa. Common swift. Yeah, there's a bunch of them, a few tens of them, going back and forth. I'll try to move a bit to find more of them. Yeah, flying over the houses, collecting flying insects and arthropods. Yeah, as you can imagine, it's almost impossible to follow one in flight. They're some of the most aerobatic birds in the world. But there's a large number of them flying back and forth above the town, above the city. Common swifts are one of the most amazing birds or generally the Swift family, they spend their entire life on the wing, sleeping on the wing, foraging on the wing, even mating on the wing. Really fantastic birds. More and more swifts flying over the houses here.
Okay, Ellen, I'm ready when you wanna.
Okay, so we're going to jump from the Swifts in Tel Aviv to Nadav up in the Hula Valley. The Swifts make a great show at this time of year. If you're ever in Jerusalem or Tel Aviv, at the end of the day, you can see their acrobats. What do you have for us, Nadav, in the...
Hi, everybody. Hi from the north of Israel, just at the foothills of the Golan Heights and Mount Hermon here in the Hula Valley. I'm in a sewage pond at the moment and just looking at beautiful, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, 3 beautiful little stints, migratory wader or shorebird that are passing through Israel from now coming from Africa all the way to the breeding grounds in Northern Europe and up very high in the north of Europe and Russia, and they are now out for food. They need a lot of energy to cover such huge distances, and we have just a smaller flock of 3 stints very close to me. They are looking for food, and they'll look for food wherever they can find it. If it's in be it a natural wetland or a sewage pond like this one. Okay, so whenever food for them at the moment is can be mosquito larvae, it can be all kind of invertebrates that they find at the shores.
Nadav, can you zoom in a bit more, please?
I can try to. I'm not sure if it's such a good.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Much better. Thank you.
Much better. Okay. The bigger bird is a zigzag, a spare-wing lapwing. I'll show it in a minute. So these are the stints. Wonderful little birds. And there was another bird I wanted to show you here. It's not a shorebird, not a wader, but a duck species with an interesting story. Let me find it. There it is. That's a marbled duck or a marbled teal. Regionally endangered species. In Israel, it got to a point where they were...
Nadav, you froze for a second. We lost you. Can you repeat the explanation, please?
Of course, I can. These are 2 marbled teals, marbled ducks. In Israel, about 2 decades ago, the population was really like a couple of tens of species of couples, and that's it. And we have a population boom in Israel in the last 5 years or so. There's a small family of mallards. Okay, this is a mommy mallard with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chicks following her in the water. But we are more interested in the marble duck. Where did it go? There it is. Okay. So the marble teals were on the verge of extinction in Israel. Very few couples still were breeding about 2 decades ago. And in the last 5 years, there's a population boom. We're counting hundreds of them. And they're starting to breed in places they haven't bred in 3 or 4 decades. And we're really happy. And we think that one of the, well, we don't know exactly everything, but we think that one of the reasons that they're coming back is because we kept them really safe in the Hula Valley, in this area. And actually, the sewage pond of the Hula Valley were important breeding sites for marble ducks. And they were breeding on floating islands of things that people dropped in their toilets, okay? And they were floating, and on those floating islands, vegetation seeds of reeds and papyrus started to sprout. And they became floating vegetation islands, and the marble ducks bred on those islands. And we actually protected them together with the NPA, National Parks Authority. We contacted the local sewage authority and asked them to protect the ducks during their breeding season and not clean those floating vegetation islands in their sewage pond. So it really, hopefully, that was, yeah, well, they, I saw a question about, is it raw sewage? Well, some of the ponds are raw sewage, and then they move the sewage water from one pond to the other, and it gets cleaner as it goes. So we have like 2 or 3 ponds of raw sewage in here. This one that we're looking at the moment, it's not raw sewage. I have a nice flock of white-winged black terns just in front of me. Let me see if I can get them on scope. They're moving all the time. Good, just flying by. Not sure if you can get those. Nope, but quite a lot of mallards and teals at the bigger pond, which is almost clear water. Some of the, we use a lot in Israel, we use a lot of treated sewage water for irrigation in agriculture, under, of course, strict regulation of the water quality. There it is, the flock of white-winged black terns. It just by me. I'm not sure if you can see them because they're too close, actually. But that just to show how important water are for migrating and breeding birds, be it clear natural habitats, water habitats, or even sewage pond. They go where the birds just need the water and everything that the water brings with them, and they'll just go wherever there's water and food.
Nadav,
Alan,
can you show us the spur-wing lapwing a little better?
Yes, of course I can. First of all, let's see the spur-winged lapwing. Okay. In Hebrew, it's called zigzag because of the calls it makes, just very similar to the American killdeer. But our zigzag goes sick. You see? Not sure if you can hear that. Sick. It's actually it's a shorebird that went a long way from shores, and now they breed on land in many places in Israel, wherever there's open land, and their nest is just like 3 stones on the ground. They don't make much of a nest. Sometimes it's on the road, like on a non-paved road, and they can be very aggressive. They'll attack anyone, even wild boars, and even human joggers that just happen to walk by or to run by. Can be attacked by the spur-winged lapwing, and they're not called spur-winged lapwing for nothing. They have a spur, S-P-U-R, like a small spur at the joint of their wing that they use as a weapon. Okay, they use as a weapon to do very close flybys and attack whoever is entering their territory. Very aggressive, very territorial.
I had a chance to see a pair of lapwings protecting their chicks up in the Hula Valley yesterday. They had 4 little chicks and there were some crows bothering them. And they did a good job of keeping them away.
Yeah. I just want to show you where I am. I'll take my phone out of my scope so you can see this is my shadow, okay? And we're looking now north. This is Mount Hermon in the background. And we're going now to the east. This is the Golan Heights. I'm in the middle of the Hula Valley at the moment. The sun is behind me, okay? Then this is the sewage pond I'm in. Not too big, but this is it. This is the mountains of the Galilee, okay, to the west of the Hula Valley. Irrigation system working behind me. The Hula Valley is mainly agriculture. It used to be the biggest wetland in Israel until the early 50s of the previous century. And then the Hula Valley was drained. It's one of the first projects of Israel. And this is actually was one of the triggers to the foundation of the Society for Protection of Nature in Israel, the house organization of Birdlife Israel.
So,
to protect
Nadav,
the Hula Valley from drainage. Yes, Ellen.
I'm going to just jump out from you because Noam has some very interesting birds down in Eilat.
Okay,
So we're going to go from the sewage ponds of the Hula Valley down to the desert area in
Eilat, yeah.
No, not the salt ponds. He's out in I think it's the Acacia Grove. Is that where you are, Noam?
Well, we have moved to an interesting project called the Holland Park. And what you see in the picture right now is a Liechtenstein sand grouse.
Oh, wow.
A pretty tough bird to see. Even in your frame, I'm not sure you can all see it. It's moving pretty a lot. I'm not sure I can see it myself right now. And we are at a, do you see it, guys?
Extremely camouflaged.
Extremely camouflaged, but it's right there. And this sand grouse is just a big rarity here because we have maybe very few hundreds of birds still left in the country, and they're all in our region. And this project is the Holland Park, which is a sanctuary that was built with the JNF and the SPNI and the Eilat Bird Sanctuary. And we have planted in this place trees that are nutritious for birds that are all local. So my guys, I have here Esther and Karoli from Hungary helping me, are trying to help me locate it, but I think you'll have to get back to me in a second because this is pretty tough job here.
Okay, I'll try to keep an eye on you. So we're coming to the wrapping up to the end of our webinar. So I'm going to take us back to Yoav Perlman to give us a few words of wrap up, and then we'll visit Nadav and Noam again for wrap up from there. Noam, you're back with Julia the seal.
Yeah, Yoav. I'm with Julia. I'm with Julia the seal. It hasn't done much since last time where we spotlighted on her. Still snoozing on the beach. Just for if anyone joined us late in the broadcast, this is a Mediterranean monk seal, one of the rarest marine mammals in the world. Around 700 individuals left in the world. Super rare in Israel, third time ever in Israel. This animal landed here 3 days ago, south of Tel Aviv, and it's a great privilege to be able to see such a rare animal really in the middle of the city, in the middle of Tel Aviv, and it's amazing that we can show it to you. It's hard to say how long this animal will be here, maybe for a couple more weeks, then it will move on, hopefully through a secure and healthy Mediterranean Sea back to Turkey where it came from. Maybe it will start visiting us more regularly. Who knows? Yeah. I do need to wrap up here. I just want to say that this was a slightly different webinar to the ones that we host usually. Well, we did have some exciting migratory birds, but also some resident birds and some other animals as well. Noam's viper was amazing, and this seal is quite a fantastic animal as well. So yeah, it's just to give you a slightly broader view of the wildlife of Israel, of the amazing diversity here that we have in the country. We did talk a bit about conservation that we do, both in wetlands, the conservation and restoration of wetlands that we do in Israel, and marine conservation work that the SPNI does to protect all the different animals, the fish, the marine mammals, and the seabirds in the Mediterranean. Yeah, so thank you for joining us. I do need to sign off here. But Alan, I pass you on to Noam and Nadav, and thank you Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Yoav, and thanks for bringing us up close views of Julia. I have to go down and see her in person myself. So thank you. And Noam, would you like to say a few last words before we move off?
Yes, so we are still struggling here with the Liechtenstein sand grouse. And I'll just give you a glimpse of where we are. This is a beautiful urban nature project called the Holland Park. These are the mountains across the border in Jordan. And this is a very nice project of tree planting in the desert next to the city. And all of these species are feeding migratory birds. So I would like to summarize here. Migration is almost over. We just have last bits and pieces of that. And most birds are going into breeding mode right now. And we are looking forward for autumn already, but we are still busy with all kinds of raptor breeding service and desert breeding service. As I said before, we had an amazing event today with 300 pupils from our local community and all kinds of environmental education organizations that have formed the Forum for Educational Organization and made a beautiful event today. Check our Facebook page to see what happened there. From here, it's already getting pretty dark. The sun is going down. Bringing the broadcast back to you, Alan, from beautiful Eilat.
Thank you, Noam. And I'm going to take us back to Nadav for a few words of farewell from up there.
Yeah, so from me and from this beautiful little stint here on standing on raw sewage, okay, just as a symbol of of the situation here in our world. Sometimes it's raw sewage, but we have to keep migrating like this little stint, or keep breeding like this black-winged stilt, okay? And still there's a lot of beauty, even if you have raw sewage around you. And I wish I could, I wish you could smell what I'm smelling at the moment, and but I can't. Yeah, this is my way to bid you farewell, and hope to see you in the Hula Valley someday. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Sorry we didn't have a lot more birds to show you. Sometimes you hit a day that it's not the height of migration with all the wind, but we managed to pull a few good things. And want to invite anybody who wants to come and travel to Israel. We have the Hula Valley Bird Festival coming up in November, and we will be posting that online very shortly. Come and join us for a great week of birding in the Hula in November when the cranes are around and it's full of migrating birds. And
we'll be visiting sewage ponds.
sewage ponds. Stick with us. We'll take you to the best places in Israel. But with the Hula Valley, the Golan Heights, the Mount Hermon, there's lots of great tours set up for the Hula Valley Bird Festival. And those of you who want to look ahead, March in Israel is also one of the highlights on the world scene as far as migration goes, and we will be having the Israel Bird Festival at the end of March. So keep in touch with us. Look on our websites, and information will be upcoming shortly. Meanwhile, yesterday was World Migratory Bird Day. Many of us were out birding for the Global Big Day. And the focus this year for the Migratory Bird Day is water and the importance of water in the lives of birds and for biodiversity of birds. And we've seen here a couple different examples of how important water and conservation of wetland habitats of all kinds is for birds. They will go to what's available, but we need to do our best to provide them with good, clean, and good habitat as well. So from all of us in Israel, happy World Migration Day, and please enjoy spring where you are, and we'll see you again sometime soon. Take care.
Then if you want to highlight me to end with the
Say
still.
goodbye.
Yeah.
And thank you to Nadav, thank you to Yoav, and thank you to Noam, and thank you to the team here at the Jerusalem Bird Observatory for showing us the birds today. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.